Welcome to Episode 1, the pilot episode of Etown Everywhere, a podcast featuring fun facts and friends from around the world. The show is brought to you by Elizabethtown College's Office of International Student Services. If you would like additional information about the podcast, please contact the Office of International Student Services at oiss@etown.edu or at 717-361-1594. Hello everyone, I'm your host Luke Mackey, and each week I will be taking you on an adventure around the world. This week's featured country is Israel. I will be talking a little bit about my experience traveling to Israel later on in the podcast. Taking a swim across the big pond to our featured country, here are some fast, fun, fantastic facts about Israel. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV series was produced by an Israeli. And Israeli banknotes have Braille on them, which I thought was pretty interesting. The glue on Israeli stamps is kosher, which I thought was great attention to detail there. Microsoft has more employees in Israel than it does per capita anywhere else in the world. More than 9 out of 10 Israeli homes use solar power to heat water. Pretty much everywhere I stayed in Israel used solar power to heat their water. Hearing all those fantastic facts about Israel makes me want to move there, so before I do, I would like to know what kind of climate and weather to expect. So in Israel, you can expect the weather and climate to be Mediterranean with long, hot, rainless summers and relatively short, cool, rainy winters. And when I was in Israel, it rained for the first time in many months when I was there in October. Now let's hear from someone who knows a lot about Israel. I'm not an expert, but I traveled to Bethlehem and Jerusalem several years ago, and I found it very interesting, so here's my 2 cents. So one thing that Israel is best known for is in Jerusalem. There's this place called Dome of the Rock, and it's one of the most famous parts that I know of, and that's where many people believe that Jesus ascended into heaven at that place. So another thing is a misconception about Israel people or people from Israel, and I would say that the people in Israel are very nice, and the Palestinians and Israelis both want peace, but the government makes it very difficult. So they're very peaceful people, but it's just a very difficult situation for them. And Israel, did it live up to my expectations? I would say so. And with any foreign country, people are still people. And I think since Israel was the first country outside the US that I went to, this is, a very eye-opening experience for me, just seeing that people are the same all around the world. So that was really interesting. And a strange law I found, and doing a podcast and having done radio broadcast in the past, if you have been maintaining an illegal radio station for 5 years or more, the station automatically becomes legal, which is pretty cool. So we can all read on the internet about different stuff, about countries and things, but something that I think I really want to point out is that, the people in Israel and Palestine aren't violent people, and I felt very safe there, and I think that's a big misconception that is a lot on the news and on the internet. And lastly, I'd like to share a fun little story. So before going to Israel, I was told to accept any gifts that I was offered by anyone in Israel, and that it was rude to not accept any gifts. So it's our first morning there. We wake up. We're taking a little walk around where we were staying, and this man comes up to us and starts handing us jewelry, and nobody else is taking it, but I was taking it. And I was like, why are these people being rude? Well, then I found out he was trying to sell us the jewelry. He wasn't giving it as a gift. So I was a little embarrassed about that, but everything was okay. But that was my funny story from Israel. So thanks for listening to my little stories about Israel. So speaking of students from around the world and students in general, here are some wacky, worldly, wonderful words of wisdom for this week for our students. So adjust your schedule around when you are the most productive and creative. While most people would advise you to do your work first thing after class, in the end, you know what's best for you. If you're nocturnal and you do your work best late at night, embrace that. It may be the only time in your life that you can do that. So, there's some words of wisdom for you. Coming back to information about this week's featured country of Israel, here are some famous people from Israel. Gene Simmons, a famous rock singer, and Natalie Portman, famous actress. Welcome to this Etown Everywhere news brief. In our featured country of Israel, Palestinians say Israel has severely curtailed gas supplies to the occupied Gaza Strip this winter, fueling a major disruption to ordinary life for most families and exacerbating the harsh impact of the cold winter. People are suffering from the shortage, especially because a lot of cars have been converted to use gas instead of petrol due to the high prices of petrol. The amount of gas allowed into the Palestinian territory is only about 15% of what is needed normally. The Israeli Minister of Energy has not responded to a request to comment. Okay, everyone, it's time for your favorite part of this show. Drum roll, please. The joke of the week. So a rabbi is going on holiday to Israel. He arrives at Heathrow Airport and goes to have his luggage checked in. Has anyone put anything in your luggage without your knowledge? Asked the girl in the check-in desk. The rabbi replies, "Listen, if it was without my knowledge, how should I know?" Oh, that was hilarious. I can't wait till next week to get another laugh in. Thank you all for listening to Etown Everywhere, a podcast featuring fun facts and friends from around the world. The show is brought to you by Elizabethtown College's Office of International Student Services. If you would like additional information about this week's podcast, please contact the Office of International Student Services at oiss@etown.edu or at 717-361-1594. I'm your host, Luke Mackey, and remember, never stop exploring the world around you. Have a terrific day. And now it's blooper time! Welcome to this... What? Oh, never mind, okay. Okay, whoops, sorry.